Okay, so this is the American artist, American photographer Cindy Sherman, born 1954. Let's take a look at some of her artwork. The first one I wanted to look at is Untitled Film Still number 35. A lot of her artwork has that title, the Untitled Film Still, and then it has a number. And what she loves to do, she's actually the subject of most of her photographs too, in that she creates a photograph where it looks like it's a scene from a movie. So this is not a movie, although it could be. It just looks like a scene from a movie. And what's interesting is you could even do a whole writing class on this, because you could invent any type of narrative around this scene right here. So there's this woman, she's standing there. It's obviously kind of a crummy apartment, lots of door scuffs there. Somebody's kicking the door perhaps. There's a jacket there, and she looks very suspicious. And, you know, maybe like the story is that, you know, she goes over to lock the door, she smells another woman's perfume on her husband's jacket, something like that. Or perhaps she's sneaking something out of his jacket, or I don't know. There's some deviant activity. You could just see it in the eyes there. And the hand of the hip shows like a disapproval of something. What's interesting too, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo thing. But see this cable right here? That's actually how they used to take your own photographs. So she's the only person in the room. The camera is set up, you know, somewhere back over here, and this is actually the cable that's connected to the camera. She clicks the button, or actually squeezes it, and it pulls the trigger and takes the photograph. So it's kind of interesting. In some of her photographs, we can see that cable there. Here we go. Cindy Sherman, Untitled Film Still number 35. This is from 1979. It's a photograph, and you could see her stuff in a lot of different places, but this is the Los Angeles Museum of Art. And let's just go ahead and circle a couple things here too. The color, even though it's black and white, that's kind of a signature thing. So black and white film still, although she does do some color ones too. And really that's all I'm going to do. I mean, we could say that there's maybe some elements of balance there too, in how the frame is composed. So I guess we can, or where the composition is. So what you need to do is, what I noticed about this photograph is, what did you notice about it? And what I believe is happening in this photograph is that, so this, have a little fun with it, keep it appropriate. And then right after this photo, the woman in the narration, like what happened right after that scene right there. And if I were to take a photograph of a fake movie scene, it would be of, can you think of a movie? And then another piece by this artist's work that stood out to me was, and let's, so that's just another picture of Cindy. You could see, they have newer technology now where there's like wireless things. But it used to be this little ball that you squeezed, and it pushed air and pulled the trigger on the shutter, and you take a photograph of yourself. So that's kind of a scene of how she does it. And these are pretty fun. So remember, she is the girl in all of these pictures, and it's kind of fun. She, you know, dresses all these different costumes. She looks very different in each one. Untitled Film Still number 14. I imagine this woman, you know, maybe alone in the big city, a little confused, or perhaps, you know, she's downtown shopping in New York, and she looks across the street, and she sees her husband with another woman coming out of a restaurant. Very suspicious. You can see it all in the eyes there. Here, you know, the narrative could be a number of different things, but I always imagine, like, you know, she's not very interested in the book that she's grabbing. She's more interested in what's going on over here, or who's looking at her. Very suspicious. This one always reminds me of like Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction, here with the black bob haircut, the cigarette, holding the ashtray or TV remote perhaps, but I believe it's an ashtray, just sort of like dressed up fancy but sitting sort of like she doesn't care. This one reminds me of like maybe she just came from you know, someone's funeral. Here you can see she's wearing black with the veil, but a little bit sexy at the same time because she has that little leopard or cheetah print on the collar there. Here we could see that she's probably alone. You see a drink in her hand, and nothing really else going on there. So modern art, so we know this is like a woman who has a little bit of money. But it's kind of interesting to think of what the story might be. Here we go. Here we could see, again, I haven't really been pointing it out, but there's probably the trigger that she's been holding there to take the photograph. And here you can see it's a little suggestive that something's going to happen or just happened. Here you can see there's this table right here, there's a drink on the counter there. It's not her drink, it's somebody else's. See the jacket on the counter there? It's obviously someone else, maybe a man, maybe she's cheating, maybe she's seducing, who knows what's going on, but it's kind of interesting. Yeah, she looks like she's doing the dishes, but what's interesting is she's clutching her stomach there. Maybe she's upset, or maybe she feels ill, maybe she's pregnant and she's looking for a way to tell her husband or boyfriend. You never know. This one always reminds me of like some sort of Alfred Hitchcock horror movie or something, like The Birds or something. She kind of has that look of the same actress, but she's riding a bicycle across the street, and it looks a little bit fake, almost like a blue screen in the old like 1960, 1970 films, where the blue screens you could tell they weren't really on the location before the technology got better. But kind of interesting to imagine what's going on. And here's looks like a little bit more up to date. It looks like very much like a horror movie, like she's being attacked or there's a monster or something like that. Here's more recent ones. It's not that she looks this old. She did some heavy makeup on herself to make herself look like an elderly woman or woman past middle age who has had some plastic surgery done. So that's kind of the style. And here we see it's a very like predominant woman who doesn't look very happy. You could kind of see it in the eyes. She's a little, unhappy there. Here's the last one. Kind of looks like a country folk singer or something like that. Kind of hokey. I think that's what she was going for here. So a lot of humor, a lot of narrative in Cindy Sherman's photography. And what's great is you can see her stuff pretty much anywhere in the United States. Every gallery has some of her artwork to check out, which is a lot of fun.